They were known as the Divine Wind. The suicide pilots called kamikaze. More than anything else, they came to symbolize all that was feared about the military might of Imperial Japan. "60 years on, those young men are being immortalized. This is the set of a new film being made about the kamikaze. It's called I Go to Die for You. The movie's director says it's a tribute to a generation that was prepared to lay down its life for the country."
いや、まず戦争はもちろんいけないし、戦争賛美なんてことは毛頭ないですよね。当たり前ですよね。でもやっぱりそういう史実があったとは事実ですから。それは亡くなっていた人たちはみんな18とか20歳とか若い人たちですから、そのことをもう一回自分にフィードバックして考えてほしいと思いますね。やっぱり今日日本のこれだけ平和があるというのはこういう人たちがいたおかげですから。
Victims of Japanese aggression in Asia would argue with that sentiment, but the fact that the kamikaze are being glorified is evidence of a new wind blowing through Japan. After World War II, reeling from the atomic bomb attacks and under American occupation, Japan turned to pacifism. Its imperial military was dismantled, a new constitution imposed to enshrine peace. But the Cold War changed that. Fears of communism inspired the United States to help Japan to set up the SDF. It looks a lot like a military force, but technically it's not. This is Japan's ground self-defense force. Military light, legally restricted to never fire in anger, only ever in self-defense.
僕が自衛隊に入隊を決めた時の友人の反応は、みんな大変驚いていました。もちろん僕は大学に行って真面目に勉強をして普通の企業に就職するとみんな考えていたようで、僕が自ら住んで肉体を酷使するような自衛隊に入るというのを聞いた時は友人はみんな驚き心配しました。
18-year-old Takuma Matsu joined up after finishing high school last year.
3番準備よし。前へ。3番。
For many years, a life in the force was a fairly unattractive career. Today, it's turning away recruits. Some join for the regular pay and comfortable conditions. For others, the idea of serving the country has never gone away.
僕が魅了されたのは自分の祖父が2人とも同じ軍という組織に所属していたので、その規則正しい生活や普段活動している目的が国家の防衛という崇高な任務であるからです。
Since it was set up, the SDF has served more as a natural disaster cleanup squad. But change is coming, so that by the time these trainees earn their stripes, they may be soldiers instead of public servants in uniform.
もちろん自分の命を落とすということは決して簡単なものではありませんが、もしそのような事態になった場合は 日本の自分の守るべきもののために躊躇せずに命を投げ出します。
I'm visiting one of Japan's Aegis destroyers, one of the world's most advanced fighting ships. Showing me around the Kirishima is the man in charge of its advanced weapons systems, Haruhiko Kanaka.
私は一番大切だと思ってます。まず、自分たちが生き残らなければ、他の攻撃に対する対応というのはできなくなりますので、まず自分たちは残って、国を守る。
The Kirishima is a measure of how well equipped Japan's military is. A ship like this is worth nearly $2 billion.
これがスパイ1レーダーですね。対空レーダーです。これが対空目標を探知して、識別まで実施するというですね。このレーダーで、本艦は対空目標すべてを、探知しています。
There are 4 like it in the Japanese fleet. Only the US Navy has more.
これが VLS、バーティカルランチングシステムと言います。この中に、対空ミサイルもしくは魚雷等を格納してて、ここから発射していきます。
The Kirishima and ships like it will form part of a controversial US plan known as the Missile Defense Shield. It will use missiles launched by America's allies around the world to shoot down missiles from other countries that threaten the Western alliance.
あまりいい方には行ってないのかな。逆にその世界の情勢っていうのはテロリズムの脅威っていうのは各国でも結構ありますので整理してますから、そういうのはやっぱり良くない方向に行ってるのかなっていうふうに思います。逆にそうなった場合日本にはそうさせないために私たちは実力をちゃんと持たなきゃいけないなと。
Those threats, perceived or real, are being used to persuade Japanese citizens of the merits of a remilitarized Japan.
Fortunately or unfortunately, the international situation has changed drastically. Of course, the terrorism is everywhere. In our case, North Korea is, the kidnapping people. People know that, and they shoot missiles towards our territory. So now people are getting more and more concerned about national security.
Those discussions are becoming more robust.
発射台に立った、燃料を注入した、そして確実にそのミサイルの標的が日本国であるという判断を相当固めることができれば、敵のミサイル基地を攻撃することは可能です。
日本がじゃないですよ。アメリカですよ。日本が攻撃するわけないでしょ。
MP Yoichi Masazoe is leading the government's push for change. The target is Article 9 of the Constitution, which prohibits the use of war and the existence of the military. Having won a commanding majority in Parliament, the government is well placed to push ahead with a referendum to change it.
As independent sovereign countries, it's not normal that we heavily defend our, the national security of other countries.
Japan has already tested the limits of Article 9 in Iraq. Its troops are about to finish up there after their first deployment to a war zone in 60 years. They've served as part of the US-led coalition, providing humanitarian aid projects, but having to rely on Australian and British soldiers for their security.
Very frustrating, the imbalancing, so that people want to change. But the fact is that you are attacked by the terrorists, then the Americans or Australians or British will come to help us, but we cannot go. That's really, that's not sane.
While the political debate goes on, the Defence Force is trying to win hearts and minds. The generations growing up since World War II have been kept ignorant of Japan's military attacks in Asia in the 1930s and 40s. These young women are on a weekend trip to experience life in the Self-Defence Force.
けどこの40分という時間に頭に叩き込んで、それをできるように、よりかっこよく歩けるようになってもらいます。じゃあ。
したがってもっともっとよく理解していただいて国民に、分かっていただけるならば我々としてもその目的は達せられたというふうに考えております。大切さについてはですね、やはり先ほど言いました防衛庁自衛隊というのは国民のものなので、その自分のものとして捉えていただきたいというふうに考えております。
This is a country where consumerism and kitsch are bywords for modern culture. Even the name of this tour, the Parsley Chan Tour, comes from the name of the female half of the SDF's cartoon mascots. The soldiers don't always have such an appreciative audience. Just a little exposure to the military has got some of these women thinking.
最初は得体の知れない軍隊が日本にあるという本当に最初はそんな感じだったんですけれど、すごい考えが飛躍しちゃうんですけど、日本も徴兵制を9条を改正して徴兵制などを取り入れた方がいいなと思いました。
That's the kind of radical notion that highlights the changes in Japanese society. The generation that experienced Japan's last war finds itself on the fringes of the debate.
Opposing the constitution becomes very radical. See? I mean, 10 years ago, very normal. Now, opposing the revisions of constitution has become very radical issues now.
Makoto Oda is a veteran of Japan's anti-war movement. A novelist and poet, Oda is one of the founding members of the Article 9 Association, a group of old rabble-rousers trying to rally the nation to resist the push for constitutional change. What do you fear for Japan if it goes down the path of changing the constitution?
So it's very simple. They are, at the same time, they are losing independence in a sense, because United States wants to change of the constitution of Japan now to open up a way to make a kind of Pax Americana all over the world. So I think this is a very important moment now for us to oppose the change of the constitution. So one of the reasons is we lose independence completely if we change.
The defenders of pacifism are finding themselves marginalised, a trend that's been accelerating over the past decade.
The only possible way for Japan to survive is to follow the peaceful means, two peaceful ways. This is most idealistic, at the same time this is most realistic.
It's parade day for the Sergeant's Training Course. The best and brightest of the ground self-defence force are on display. Takuma Matsu's unit is showing off its skills in martial arts. In the crowd is his family. His mother admits she didn't really like the idea of him joining up.
とっても以前に比べるとやっぱりね強くなってます。もっとどちらかというと優しいような感じの子だったんですが、自衛隊さんが何をしているかっていうのがはっきり分からなかったんですね。ですので自分も敬意を持つっていうまでな気持ちにはなりませんでした。今理解しつつあると、もう本当に体力気力の限界で毎日訓練をして、そして国民に貢献するために何かあればっていうのをやってるんだというふうに分かって、今まで私が持ってた感情はねやっぱりちょっと失礼だったなというふうに思いました。
People like Takuma Matsu believe it's time to ditch the shame of the past, for Japan to contribute more to the world and to be assertive.
僕は日本人として一人、日本人である以上、日本という国を愛し、日本の文化や歴史を大切にして、自分は日本人であるという自覚を常に持っているべきだと僕は考えています。
Those thoughts are shared by ever more Japanese who don't want their future to be defined by the past.